to another episode of
Mum
and Son. I'm Jay, I'm the son.
I'm Alicia and I'm the mum.
Pleasure like always, and good to be back. And it felt weird saying the word son because the sun's actually out.
Yay!
So that's always a good thing as well.
That's beautiful. It's lovely to have the sun out and not have to wear long sleeves or anything like that.
Coming back to that time and period where short sleeves are totally fine to wear,
Yes,
which is always
nice. Yes, we always welcome the sun.
It's a beautiful thing. Well, today's episode is going to be something that's interesting, and I think it's relevant on many different levels, and it's going to be something exciting as like, well, I think
yes.
We're going to be looking at it from two places. We're going to be talking about how to stay calm and positive during a crisis.
Yes, that's the perfect video to share today and to talk about in this particular episode, because this is something that we are all going through, believe it or not. And definitely it's important to know how to do that and how to get through it as best you can. So
exactly.
Hopefully we can help others today with what we're going to share. And
also we'll probably break this down in like many ways too, because there's also things, whether it's crisis going on in a mass level or sometimes even personal, internal or personal life crisis going
that's
on.
Good.
So it's a really good topic to really delve into.
And we like to kind of cover things from as many angles as we can, because you don't know who's watching and what's relevant to one person may be a more internal thing, and what's relevant to others may be more of an external thing. So, sounds good.
It does. I mean, like when I'm thinking of crisis and I'm thinking, when the crisis happens, it's something most of the time that's unexpected.
Unprepared.
And it's almost as if the rug or the carpet or the mat or whatever terminology you want to use has been pulled from underneath our feet.
Yeah.
And we are just rocked.
Yeah. And I think as people, we will all go through that process initially of shock, fear, and obviously you're in that zone of concern about how to kind of take in and process what's going on or what's happening in your life around any type of crisis. And in the beginning, I don't think you've got time to see further than the immediate situation. So talking about how to deal with that immediate situation is going to be really important. And then as time goes on, you then go through a process of kind of more acceptance, don't you? And then later on, how to deal with it and moving forward.
I think, just as you said, it's when something like that happens, your concern also turns into worry.
Correct.
As well, because there's a difference between being concerned about something is having a awareness of it. When you worry about it, that's when it takes a different sort of tone. And then there's things like fear that come into place. There's things like a lot of doubt. You can project the future and start looking at it in a certain way, which looks very dim, bleak type of thing. And I think I liked what you said as well when you just said something about after that initial period, at some point and stage, you have to get to a point in place where you accept it. And we'll probably talk about this a bit more, but the reason that's powerful is because when you accept it, you're also letting go of trying to control something, accepting what's happening, and then you're focusing on what you can control.
Because it's been like certain things we've talked about before. Once things become external and out of your control, then you have to turn your attention. Once you realize that, there's nothing you can do to control, or you have no control over certain situations and circumstances that are going on around you, especially in a crisis. Once you don't have that control, you then have to figure out a way. We'll talk about things that we suggest and recommend. Figure out a way of how to get through that feeling of being out of your control, or things being out of your control.
Yeah. It is, because talking about like well, I don't know what word to put on it, like a mass crisis or a world crisis, or like wherever you want to call it. I think it's definitely tough and challenging at first to find a place of balance, because everyone you're going to be we'll talk about personal life crisis later, but when it's like that, everything that you're taking in, obviously for obvious reasons, is going to be what worry, fear, this is happening, and so on and so forth. So of course, naturally, most people, you're going to be feeling like, well, if that's what the world is feeling and that's what everyone else is feeling,
then everything is multiplied on you.
Yeah.
And and no matter who you talk to, the situation is multiplying, because you're hearing it from the media, you're hearing it from family, you're hearing it from friends, in a global type of crisis, type of situation. So it's very hard to disassociate yourself from everything around you, and although you have to kind of work through that wave, you also have to focus on where you're going to come from in a situation like this. What is going to be your stance on it?
No, of course.
And how are you going to overcome whatever worries and fears are beginning to evolve for you?
Definitely.
Out of crisis, or out of a crisis situation.
Definitely. And I think that it reminds me of something that we looked at yesterday when it was talking about there's certain zones. And, and it can be applied in so many things, but there's that initial zone, that fear-based zone. And then once you break out of that, you then go into a learning zone.
Yeah, like an acceptance and learning.
So you're accepting, you're learning, and this and that, but then you then ultimately have to try and go to that growth zone. Which is, how can I, like, the positive things that you can do towards yourself and others during this time. But it's almost like you are not trying to control what's out of you, because you can't. You just have to accept whatever's going on, but you have to take control of what's going on within you, your thoughts, the words you're saying, the type of stuff that you're sort of taking in. Like, we know that when something, even on a global level, is going on, there is definitely going to be bad, but at the same time, there's a lot of good. So depending on what you're focusing on is also going to play a part in what you in where you're at, type of thing. But ultimately as well, with yourself, you have to say, this is going to pass at some time, but by the end of it, how am I going to be better? Would I have done so much good?
And how have you used your time? How have you used, who are you going to become as a person, as an individual, or even a collective even? Who will you become during that crisis period and after that crisis period? Do you know what I mean? How will you succumb to fear and worry, and make yourself feel worse within a situation of crisis? Or are you going to rise as best you can to overcome not just your personal adversity, but any other adversity you have to cope with, ongoing with what's going on around you? And, as we said, that kind of growth period after it, who will you become as a person, having been through a crisis or a crisis situation? What are you as a person going to learn? What has it taught you about yourself and others? What information are you going to glean from this experience? Is it going to make you? Is it going to break you? Is it going to destroy your happiness, or are you going to find a way to find a sense of something joyful that you can kind of do or explore whilst things are going on in this way. And I think those are all very powerful things for us to talk about, really.
It is, because when you think about it, yes, we have to, there's that thing of sympathy and empathy that when a crisis comes, everyone, their bubble's going to burst or you're going to be rocked and things like that. But there also has to be that line or place where you say, hey, like, you know what? You can't stay down here forever.
No, you can't.
Because if
sink
you do,
with
because
it.
if you do, then you're waiting for that, the crisis to be over in some way. And as we said, this could even be like, you could be going through a personal financial crisis or a relationship crisis or something like that. You know, you're waiting
losing
for,
a job,
so you're waiting for that phase to pass. In order for you to have the permission to feel happy again, or to feel life is sort of okay. But regardless of what's happening and the initial natural spell of taking that hit, the crisis doesn't hold you at ransom and says you have to act like this. Like, as an analogy, like, it's not holding you ransom and saying this is the way you have to act. We do that to ourselves. Because we say this is so big that the obstacle's so big as well that I'm like done. Life is over type of thing. Like, I might as well check out until something changes or events change or something like that. But as we talked about previously, when you're waiting for that to happen, your power and everything is not in your hands no more. And
you're handing it,
and you're disempowered.
You do become disempowered depending on how you feel you're going to deal with it, you know. And the more fear and worry you allow to consume you, the more disempowered you become. You need to take control at some point. Even, I know it sounds strange to say, but you need to take control in situations where you feel as if externally there is no control. Do you know what I mean? You need to take control within
it was like a paradox.
Self.
But you need to take control in yourself.
With what you can manage and deal with. Even though externally things appear to be out of control. Do you understand?
Sure, I see what you're saying.
So it's like, let's classify it then as external and internal. When there's an external crisis and things are out of control externally, what do you have control of?
Exactly.
You cannot control the external. You cannot control what is going on beyond your capability. You know, whether, you know, decisions are being made out of your hands in a crisis that you can't change or do anything about. The only thing you have control of is yourself and what you choose to do internally to get through a situation or circumstance that is externally out of your control. That's what I was kind of saying. I mean, I hope you understand that.
No,
you know
of course.
What I mean?
Of course. And I think that's true, because it goes back to what we've talked about, and you can even see previous episodes on self-reflection and self-awareness when we talk about this, which is we all want to control and change that external thing first. But as you said, in these instances, especially when there's a crisis and stuff, you can't most of the time. The only thing you can control is yourself. And what I'd say on that is focus on a solution rather than keep focusing on the problem, because when we control it ourselves, we seem to control it with focusing on the problem again and again and again. But start to focus on a solution, and even if it's something where you don't even know the solution to, just focus on how you can do better or be better or keep stepping forward rather than stopping or going backwards. And you will know this by certain habits that you do. For some people, like, it could be something like we talked about, staying calm. They may be getting apps or checking videos with listening to meditation or something like that,
Yes,
or like
yes.
watching motivational videos,
Yeah.
or keep reading books and educating yourself in whatever profession or hobby or skill, or if your thing is doing something else, like doing those type of things.
Yeah, I like when you said educating yourself, because you can use that time to, you know, get better, learn, you know, just not immerse yourself in the negativity or the negative side of things, but to also, as you said, try to learn something positive, or something that, you know, can just draw you out of I say maybe a whirlpool that is basically taking you downward.
Yeah.
You know, that spiral.
Yeah.
Kind of whirling you down and down and
Yeah.
down. You have to go against the tide. You have to fight the tide. You have to say, listen, I'm going down, but I'm not going to allow this situation or crisis to take me down with it, you know. It's there, it's happening, it's all going on externally, but what can I do internally to maybe learn something, grow something? I like the thing you said about educate yourself in some way. You know, just put a little bit of emphasis on taking yourself from the person you are, or you were at the start of this crisis or a crisis, and trying to give yourself some way of evolving in some way, even if it's a really small step, by just doing even a kind deed, or something that makes someone smile, or something that makes you smile even. You know, just those little steps to just draw you out of, I would say, what's pulling you down. And those little steps, we've spoken about them before, of just saying, let me try to do this, let me try to do that. Maybe I should learn a little bit about this or about that. So long as you're going forward or trying to evolve in some way, then you have a really strong chance of coming through and coping.
That's it. It's exactly coping with something like this going on in like many ways. And just because what I've recognized is, even when it's not personal, even when it's not a personal crisis, but there's a mass crisis going on, it's a rarity to be the person who sort of wants to take a more positive stance, or to be there to help other people find balance within themselves. So sometimes you have to be a bit stronger to do that, because as we talked about previously, there will be things like there could be news, or there could be gossip, or everyone talking about the same thing again and again
externally,
and again. And it does take that awareness to know what's going on and not lying like nothing isn't, but also to say, but I accept it, but I also don't let it consume me. And I know I can't control that, even though I wish I could and I would want this to happen. I know I have to kind of let go in that respect. But focus on myself and work on what can I do. You know, that is it. I think when you ultimately come to that, you make life easier as well, because you don't take the burden of, in this kind of situation that I'm talking about, you don't take that mass burden. You just kind of have your opinion and everything, but you ultimately kind of go back to yourself and go, what can I just focus on now to still keep myself in good spirits? And that resonates and radiates towards family and friends as well.
I mean, some people may view what, you know, we've just discussed about focusing yourself. They may say, oh, well, you know, isn't that selfish? Isn't that being selfish if you just focus on yourself? But when we talk about focusing on ourselves in a way that, you know, you're growing, then, like we've said before, once you start to change the internal of your thoughts, your views, then somehow the external begins to change as well, in the sense that you do, the internal changes begin to reflect externally, even in a crisis. You know, you can find that suddenly the situation, because of the way you're viewing it, and maybe a form of acceptance, not like, hey, I accept and I'm going down, but acceptance is, this is where things are at. What can I do next? You know, what can I do to improve my situation? What can I do even to help others? Because of your understanding, you found balance and a sense of harmony within the crisis. You can then say, I can look at things differently. Maybe I can do things differently. Maybe I can help myself and my family, or even help others because of the way I'm viewing things. You know, and it can be something as little as a gesture, a small gesture, or even making people smile, or you know, if they're facing any sort of adversity, sometimes your creativity can make them feel happier or change.
That's exactly it. And
something.
And I think that goes back to what you said about, if, you know, if someone may think, oh, is that selfish, this and that. As you said, what it could lead to in those examples you gave is the most unselfish thing. Yeah,
I didn't see it that way, but it's true.
I'm like saying, because what I see is you can't give out what you don't have. And you always, and I find in crisis it's the perfect time to check in with yourself.
That's a
because sometimes it takes something so when something happens where the rug is pulled from beneath our feet, sometimes it's like it stops us in our tracks, and we have to check in with ourselves and see where we are.
I like that.
You know? And that's what we mean, rather than, it's not about
me
and
I'm going to do this for myself.
It's
and
about
forget other people, or forget anything else.
Exactly, because the better you become, the more good you do to yourself, the more you're able to give and do good
externally to others.
That's the thing. So when you see it like that, you understand, wow, you know, this doesn't even
and that is an empowering view.
But that's exactly it. Yeah.
The previous is a disempowering view. Yeah. You know what I mean? And to come from a place of what we were just talking about, where you check in with yourself and you examine who you are, what you're doing, and, you know, is there room? Because another thing we've spoken about before, and this is common, is this whole thing of adaptability. Being able to adapt during a situation of crisis, whether it's an internal one or an external one. The more adaptable you can become, the more likely you are to get through it and survive. You know, as they say, didn't they, species that become adaptable to circumstances going on around them survive. Because they're ready to grow, they're ready to evolve, they're ready to adapt and accept that things have changed. I've got to change. Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when you become unadaptable, you become sort of stuck in your ways, stuck in your thinking, stuck in your view. You're going down.
And no, it's true. And you know what, the most maybe selfish or inconsiderate thing is thinking that, being stuck in your ways and thinking that I don't have to do nothing on myself, everything else has to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Everything, all the external has to do this for me. Do
you know what I mean? That's not it. When
sometimes you'll say, oh, I'm waiting for the government, I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting for that, I'm waiting for, you know,
these things. But
to sort things out.
But in actuality, when you take responsibility and you do those things, that's the most, I think, powerful
empowering
and best thing that you can do. Because nothing else outside of you needs to change or happen to make you feel happy or feel a certain way or anything like that, or live up to what your demand of it should be. You just take responsibility.
And so what do you think, Jay? We've talked a lot about external things and, you know, things happening, you know, in a crisis around you. And what about those who are experiencing personal crisis, you know, actually in a strange way, an external greater crisis can easily create an internal crisis.
Yes, true.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of separate them, but
sometimes
one
there's a
can correlate with the other, and maybe vice versa in some strange way. Not so much, but more an external crisis and coping with that could create an internal crisis for you. Or an internal crisis may just stem from personal things to do with love, relationships, money, jobs, family things that may lead to, a crisis on a very personal level. Loss, everything, health.
Yeah.
The scope is huge. But there are similarities in coping.
That's the thing. It does come down to
for both
similar
sides of it, isn't there? It's just the one with the personal one. I think you have to do even more internal work,
of course,
or check in on yourself at a greater degree than you would maybe in a a huge external mass crisis or situations that are out of your control. I think with the personal one, there are similarities. What do you think?
Definitely.
That just require more personal work.
Yeah.
I would say. But a lot of what we've just discussed is relevant, even with regards to a personal crisis. Because even in a personal crisis, certain things may still be out of your hands.
Yeah, because listen, if there's a finance one or you have a business and you didn't get that loan or the mortgage of the like the rent that you had to pay got put up and you don't have enough to cover yourself or pay employees, or you may have a health one with someone, a relative or a friend, they've had this sudden health issue you never knew about. Those ones aren't in your hands. You can't control those factors. I mean, some of them you can work on. You can work on how you control your response and I think that's what we're saying in both cases when it comes to the external crisis going on, or even just an internal one. You can only control your response and reaction. But most people let that control their response and reaction and then wait for that thing to change or go the way they want to then change their response or action. What we're saying is you need to, regardless of what's going on, you need to work on yourself to change your response and reaction to it.
That's very powerful. And we come back to this whole ethos of, self-reflecting, empowering yourself, trying to work on the external to change whatever it is, personal or major crisis. In fact, the fundamentals remain the same.
It does, and that's why there's a truth there. Because it's
like a law. Like a universal law.
Because it's in both encounters, it can be brought back to a similar action.
An underlying truth of everything comes back to you as an individual, as a person. And depending on the level in which you are able to, as you referred to earlier, check in on yourself. Some people have the ability to do things like meditate and things like that and find balance. Some may, read.
But that's what you was talking about. Some may read, some may paint.
Some may listen to music. Or
there might be people that even just, I don't know, tidy up, and it's like they're getting rid of the clutter and they're letting it go. There's many different ways for every person. Like as you said, so I think whatever it is for you, you will obviously know.
You should tap into that.
You should tap into that.
As to just create a sense of inner balance, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because once your rug is pulled out under your feet, even in that analogy where your balance is gone, hasn't it? If the rug's pulled out under your feet, like you might fall
you're
to
off
the floor.
balance. You're caught off guard.
And you're off guard.
And you're fearful
balance.
and you're worrying.
So the whole thing is to try and bring balance back and have a structure again. Because when you do things from a emotionally charged place of this has happened and you feel a certain way, that will drag you and make you lose all structure and routine.
You know what just came to me, I sort of heard the word, self-discovery. And I feel that in times of crisis and coping with crisis, whether it's internal or external, there is a form, as you said, check in with yourself, and there's a form of self-discovery you need to undertake to discover more about who you are and who you're meant to be during this time. We talked about evolving at the end of it, but the self-discovery I just kind of thought I need to mention is because you have, we talked just now about people coping in different ways, and obviously you listening or watching, you will have your own way of coping with what we're saying, but there's also room there to discover more about yourself. Some people in a crisis may start doing something they never thought in their wildest dreams they would do, and it's like a release, it's like a self-expression, and then suddenly they discover something that they have the capability to do or achieve.
That's true.
Somebody may have not considered themselves, able to do something, but in a crisis, suddenly they can.
It's true. It's true.
They may have thought, oh, I'm terrible at this, but in a crisis, they find they can cope better than they thought, or something within them comes out in an unexpected way, and they're surprised at how they managed it. And so I would also add that not just self-discovery, but we also find strengths that we never realized we had. And if you can tap into that, even if it's not blatantly obvious to you, it's all empowering stuff.
I think that's a good thing that you mentioned and said there. And I also love the fact you mentioned strength, because that is so important
to see you through.
In a times of crisis and things like that, to have strength. And I think for most of us, like when these things happen, we obviously feel like we don't have I'm not strong enough, this is too much. But sometimes, even if you feel like you innately don't have that strength, you can build it. And that's even if you don't have it, or it's like, oh no, this is the worst thing, like I'm just not strong enough. That's your opportunity to learn to build it. As you said, to discover that. To discover those qualities. Who said life had to stop because a crisis came? It didn't. And that's what I was saying earlier. Nothing needs to be put on pause. There's always something to learn about yourself, and there's always a new skill or quality that you can add to. That makes you become better after this phase has had its time.
I mean, in global crises and things like that, sort of slightly veering off, but when they had previous things like world wars, World War One, World War Two, people kind of developments and growth and things were made out of those situations. Not that anybody wants them, but somehow they push us as people, as individuals, to grow,
to advance
and create things that we never would have had there not been a crisis or something like that. So I just talking about this whole thing of finding strength and so on, our capability to find strength and achieve and do things in these type of situations has no bounds, really.
Yeah.
Except the ones we may create for ourselves.
Yeah, and that's true. That's absolutely true.
know, so wow, what an episode!
It covered everything.
Yeah.
From strength to being positive to acceptance and being calm. It's all there, but it all taps on and touches the overall picture. And as we said, if you're someone who you don't know how to maybe check in or reflect, our previous videos on self-reflection, self-awareness are really good to watch and to get you started if you find any trouble doing that. But the impact of it would also be very huge, especially as you said, in a time where you could be going through a crisis and you need it the most. So definitely check those videos out and delve further into it and a process.
I think the one to really start with is self-reflection.
Yeah.
You know, that is the real, I found that to be like a real core kind of principle to begin with. If you can get your head around that, everything else we say will actually make a lot of sense and fall into place for you, you know. And with so many episodes now, those episodes allow you to go deeper into some of the things that we mentioned.
We can touch on it here and stuff, but that's why it's good we've got our archive of stuff, so you can always go there.
And I'm really pleased that we've kind of taken the time to start this series and do these episodes, because it is, like you've called it, an archive, and it is like a self-help archive.
Yeah, exactly.
Of, you know, tons of wisdom, information to help you, you know, who are listening or watching, just build strength.
Yeah.
Empowerment, courage.
That's exactly
and
it.
And all those things that come.
And most of those things you said we have episodes for as well. So. So that's also it. So it's everlasting and and we hope as well ever helping. So
it's evergreen stuff, really, isn't it?
That's why it's just amazing. So we hope
check it out.
Check it out and let us know how you feel and what you think. And obviously, if you want us to do any more videos
let us know.
or episodes, then let us know. We're definitely here.
We'll cover those topics.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll definitely cover it. And any crisis you're going through in any type of way, just stay strong. It shall pass, like everything. Even we've talked about things in nature, such as tornadoes or these things that happen. They have their time and then they go. So even nothing in nature that's a crisis lasts forever. Yeah. So,
everything has its end.
Yeah, everything has its end. And I think the most important thing is not when it ends, but who are you going to be when it does? Exactly. That's the most important thing. So.
You know, will you come out better?
Yeah.
In the way you view things and the way you view life and as a person, what has it taught you, what, you know, and all the things we mentioned even in this episode, you know, go back and listen and watch them and or listen and watch them and just reflect on it all, and then, you know, by the end of it you'll feel better. And I think definitely, you know, I really,
because we've all been through something.
Yes.
Or we're all going through the same thing.
Yes.
So
in the global thing, we're all going through it. You know.
So it's So it's just one of those things.
And
maybe
the personal things we've all.
And then maybe, you know, no one's heard it from this angle or this perspective, because they might just be hearing the general sort of take on things. So, and that's good to be aware of it, but you also, I'm guessing you're here because you're trying to find something more.
Yes.
And that's the main thing. So, stay safe.
Stay strong. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
And,
leave any comments, leave any likes, subscribe to the channel. You can join the family or familam. It's all good. You can also check us out on Spotify and Apple as well, or iTunes. We'll leave the link in the description for the podcast, so you don't miss it. In case you want to listen to us, then that's okay as well. But hopefully you enjoy watching us too. I guess that's pretty much sums it up. Anything else to add?
No. Just say, just thanks. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you soon.
So on the next one, this is MumNSon.